So what's up, B?
Watching the game, having a bud.
True.
What's up? Yo, who's that?
Yo, pick up the phone.
Hello? What's that?
What's up? Yo, where's Dookie?
Yo, Duke. Hey! Yo.
What's up?
What's that?
Hold on. Hello?
So what's up, B?
Watching the game, having a bud.
True.
All right, you lot. Let's make television!
Your time has come, you smug bastard! The aliens are here! We're all going to die!
I'm gonna do a terrific show today, and I'm gonna help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Okay, so I'm working this thing from the phone, and I got my so yeah, I'm trying to read the chat at the same time. Thanks, Germs. Thanks for hanging out. Is the mic roboting? Is my sound roboting right now, or is it just the videos? Because if it's just the videos, then I'm not going to worry about that for the rest of whatever. So anyway, since you guys are here to see this happen, I'm just going to start doing it. I'll check out turn my head to the right every once in a while to see what's going on. Incidentally, I don't know for sure. You can post in the chat if you're actually here, but I sent an invite out to the customer so that you can actually see this stuff getting done. Weather's really nice, and the juggling act actually worked out in everybody's favor today. I was scheduled to do something completely different, but that got called off, which is great because I'm chomping at the bit to get this done. Artist glove. I'm not. Oh, yeah, because that white cotton glove is more about providing a slick surface so that when you're pulling a pinstripe, your fingers and your salt and your fingers and stuff don't actually get on the surface. Different material, different technique. So it's not really necessary. Next time I do this, I might try with the iPad and see. There's a bunch of different. I mean, I've got a freaking action camera that I hardly ever use. I've been experimenting on different ways to get content like this out. The action camera I tried once for a project. It was in the winter in a booth. It wasn't necessarily heated that well, but I was hand painting a fire hydrant, and I had this action camera on my head the whole time, and the heat that it was generating started over a long period of time. I think I had it going for like 2 hours. Started condensating along the inside of the protective glass. So I'm watching the video, and the further along it gets, the foggier the image is becoming. So, and it wasn't really so much that it was like super hot. It wasn't overheating. It was just that it was, in comparison to the outside temperature, this is, basically a booth is a giant metal box. And this is the area that I was in was not the most well heated. So, cold is something that it came with the territory. It's just like that thing, you experiment, and it's still good for some stuff. I put that thing on the end of a stick and dropped it into my septic tank so that I could see what the hell was going on in there when it clogged up on us this past Memorial Day. Very carefully to not drop it. So it has its uses, but the mic went on it. It's kind of fuzzy. So I only use it for capturing images, not talking into the video. I mean, it's a pretty handy camera. It's called a, what is it called? Ono or Uno or some kind of an action camera. Yeah, so the blend here, I'm noticing when something like this gets blended, this is the original color, and it's being faded into this, you know, complicated artwork over here. So to somebody who lives their life 6 inches away from something like this, I'm trying to see where it starts and where it stops so that I can hide it as much as I can. But then, I mean, at some point I have to remember that the people that see this, and as unfortunate as it's a sad story as to why this piece is in my possession again. You wouldn't wish it on anybody, but accidents happen, and so that's where we find ourselves working on this. And I just want to make it look like I want to make all the bad dreams go away right here. I want to replace the bad dreams with actual visual bad dreams. And my goal, and Nate, if you're listening, I want to have this done. I want to have this fixed. I'm not making any promises, but I want to have this fixed before the next week is over. I want to get this back into Phil's hands. Phil at Roll On Cycle in Oakdale, PA. That's where you go to get all your killer bike paint work and mechanical work done. You look up Roll On Cycle on the interwebs. I've been dealing with those guys since I got started doing this. Since I made the move from t-shirts to motorcycle tanks, and knowing absolutely nothing about the chemistry of this stuff. I've known those cats. Like I've known those kids since they were kids. So I got my rolly stool here, but it's not necessarily it's not very high, so I kind of have to stand over this. To germs, yeah, they do actually. Tanks and the metal work, it does cost more. If for no other reason that the material itself it's more expensive because it's not a water-based, non-toxic material that you're putting on a t-shirt. It is a disclaimer, you should probably be wearing a respirator while doing this. But this, I mean, the tool that I'm using here is no bigger than a pen. So I'm not really damaging anything as far as the environment or my own breathable air is concerned. Not so as you'd notice. So the story behind this one, do they ask for, hey, do you do something like this? Or I sort of want this stuff. I took a lot of time putting images on my website. And there's no way that you're going to be able to put examples of everything that everybody's thinking of. What you're trying to do is to say, you see all these images, you see how, the wide variety of subject matter that I do is. So the answer to your question, to any customer's unasked question of, can you do fill in the blank, is yes. I still have files in my computer on cut files, kind of like this. I'll see if I can put the camera back where it belongs. This Jester here, he has a vinyl. Now, this is actually cut out of a clear mask. So if I go and paint over him like this and get all this green on here, that's not actually on him. That's on a clear vinyl mask. He's all masked off. This whole thing is masked off. I got this purple diamond in that was missing, and I'm just going to fill this area up here with faces. Starting from the top down. But to the other question, you were saying like motorcycles more expensive. Yeah, it is. But there's also the okay, that's a good shot. There's also the frequency of work. Now, jobs that are this big don't always come along. And in fact, one of the things that has me getting away from this is that the frequency of this really is one of those things I like. First of all, Nate is very patient, very trusting, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that I communicate with my customers and let them know what I'm doing. I mean, I actually had the balls to send them a link to this video. And it's not always like that. A lot of the work that I did for the local dealership was, paint repair. Even if it was like, paint repair of my own work. You paint a bike, somebody wrecks. In fact, my very first customer, I did some elaborate stuff on his, like a whole, Vietnam War scene, and he dumped his bike a couple times. And I kept having to put this helicopter. I had a big Huey helicopter on either side of his tank, and I used to say that as a joke. This dude's taking out more Hueys than the Viet Cong, because every time he hit something, he hit that tank, he hit that copter, and I had to put that copter back in again. And eventually I think one of the reasons why it kept happening was because my prices weren't high enough, and it made it. I mean, you know how it is. You have a nice something that's fine. Something that you pay a lot of money for. You take, the more you spend on it, the better you take care of it. What happened here was a freak accident. This is not due to carelessness. So a lot of what's happening up here is trying to get these colors to match these colors without and hide the blend. So there might be some areas up here that I make dark and I don't erase with the lacquer thinner. For instance, just to give you an example, which is how this happens. This is for those who haven't been here yet or are going to be here in the future. This airbrush has lacquer thinner in it, so it's basically an eraser. If you can see what's going on here with this left eye, his left, where I take some of the paint away and add highlights by erasing what I just did with this lacquer thinner, and add some detail that way. And that's what this whole thing is going to be, a big back and forth of adding, subtracting, until you get these nice tonal changes in between. Incidentally, on the Germs, it's nice to have a somebody who knows what it's like out there. I just noticed now that I've got 667, not the number of the beast subscribers. I think I caught 2 in the same day. The good Lord was looking out for my subscriber count. Could use some more. I'm not going to beg, but I think I end up shooting myself in the foot. Excuse me, a little bit, because the channel is trying to be 2 things at once, and I have so little time to take care of one channel, let alone 2. It's just I'm trying to promote it as a simultaneously custom paint comic book thing, because I honestly, as a say, like, traditionally a comic book artist, but that's always been my passion. I got sucked into doing airbrush just because the same thing that makes it attractive for other people to watch, where it kind of like looks like a magic show. Same effect on me, and I just had to know. I hated not knowing how to do it, and then that leaked into pinstriping. Because if you're going to get into custom paint on motorcycles, it's going to be a 3-tiered thing. Well, actually, more than that. You're going to learn how to vinyl cut, so you can cut out complex masks, like for our guy down here. Uh-oh. Something bad happened upstairs. I think I might be taking somebody to work. I'm just saying, guys. I totally forgot that I was supposed to take my daughter to work before I decided to start this stream at 4 o'clock. And now my very beautiful wife has to do it. And she also has somewhere else that she wants to go. Totally my fault, and the dog only cares about barking at things. Yeah, thanks. Germs, who knows? I mean, it might be the thing where I just put it down and pick it back up again. I mean, I'm paying for the service, so I don't think there's a time limit on the amount of what I can stream. Yeah, once I had a client that I thought I was going to be doing some lettering on his diesel rig, and once I found out that was going to be put on hold for a little while, I immediately got that I got it in my head that I was going to have all day to myself, and started setting things up here, and I'm probably just going to have to buy either flowers or a pizza or both to get back in the good graces of those who hold my fate in their hands. Thanks, Susie. I'll probably okay. Just saying. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can show you something here real quick. Just some inside baseball airbrush type stuff. I'll do it on this little bit of the mask of the hand. You see, I've got my paint all the way. Never mind, it's not doing it anymore. Sometimes you get a crumb of something in the tip of the airbrush, and it makes it so that you can't shut the paint off, and you get little squigglies. Yeah, there they are. They're back again. So you have to kind of take the handle off like this, pull the needle out, and figure out where that chunk is. Kind of work the needle back and forth real gently and feel for whatever is interrupting the tip there, whatever's in the way is gone. That can also happen if you have a split tip. I'm going to end up doing like a technical, like airbrush. These are the parts. This is how you put it together, take it apart, clean it, and all that stuff. I think that'll probably come in handy. The one video that I have on my channel that has the most views is a lesson in gold leaf. And I figure, if I'm more worried about growing the channel, then that's the kind of stuff that I could put up there. But I do want to do like some draw streams. It's nice to be able to sit there and just draw some stuff and not move cameras around. The last time I did this, I drug USB extension cords and used the camera that I usually have over my art table. And that didn't work as well. Oddly enough, it did not work as well as this. My phone that has been dropped and the screen is cracked and all that stuff, but so far it's doing a better job. And that's only as long as... Oh, okay, so why I had to shake it sometimes. It's kind of hard to explain with your fingers without looking kind of lewd. Okay, well, let's say, for instance, we'll go from this side. Okay. There's the tip, and then there's the needle that fits inside the tip. And sometimes, it's like a cross section, sometimes a piece of paint will get stuck here. So when you go to bring your needle forward, it doesn't go forward all the way, and paint leaks out from here. So you have to, just a quick fix is, you waste a little bit of paint in the cup, but whatever, you unscrew the needle chuck and you kind of move it back and forth while you're spraying to kind of work that piece out. And once it leaves, you're good to go. Most of the time, and this is a habit that a lot of airbrush artists have. In fact, I don't want to get gross, but you might be able to see there's a little cut there. There's always this automatic action of it's cleaning. You're always picking stuff off the tip. It's something that always happens. Kind of like, not like a nervous tick, but you're always, physically keeping your needle clean. That's way more important when you're working with acrylics and t-shirts, because that paint tends to dry pretty quick. This is solvent based. It's basically the same kind of chemicals that you would find in like gasoline, lacquer thinner, mineral spirits if you're spraying one shot, which I don't recommend, and thinners. They tend to clean the needle as you're going, and that's if your needle doesn't have a hook on the end or a burr. So that's a whole other thing. You get a burr on the needle, there's tools that you can work those out with. I really do need to do a Airbrush 101 video. Who was it before? I don't know if it was Outpost Nerd or one of the other Discord cats was asking me if I had a subscribe star, because I have this banner going across the bottom. about. I mean, it's basically the same thing as somebody who's a street performer and they have their hat out on the or their guitar case open. Throw some money into the thing. But that's what you do before you get monetized, I guess, and even afterwards. I mean, I'm a little bit of a Gordon Gekko when it comes to my views on capitalism at heart. In practice, not really. If I was a Gordon Gekko in practice, my marketing techniques would have been much better. I always have this, what do you call it, two competing schools of thought, where you do want to scream from the rooftops about the thing that you do and how good you are at it, but at the same time, I have this thing about I'm trying. I don't mean humble brag, but like trying to be humble. I've just seen so many egos pollute, insert work industry here. I don't want to be that person. Because you never truly are like the best. There's people who, unless you're Frank Frazetta, but everybody knows that. What is a busker? I do not know. It might be a typo. I'm not sure. If it's not a typo, please explain, because it sounds like a word I might want to use in a sentence somewhere in the future. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna keep my dark over here. Fine line of humility. Is that what busker is? Okay. So a busker is what would that make? What part of speech would that be? An adjective, I believe. Oh, okay. Right. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm oh yeah. Oh, sorry. You mentioned way before about ketchup bottles. And I didn't figure what that was. This is my long-standing Coors Light 30 pack, 36 I believe. Yeah, 36 pack bag, which has survived these many years. Carrying paint. This is not ketchup bottles. These are hair dye. Just to give you ladies an idea of what it is, the kind of plastics that they have to put hair dye in. This is a solvent-resistant plastic, i.e. it won't melt when you put my paint in it, i.e. it won't melt when they put your hair dye in it. So hair dye, I guess, melts plastic, but not heads. I'm sure it's doing something bad. So, I've got a complex. The house is quiet, and I don't know if I like that. When this is over, I'm going to have to seriously compose a really nice I'm sorry, honey text or something like that. Or, maybe there'll be a pizza delivery service I can employ. Where she was trying to get ready to go somewhere else, and I'm not sure where that was. Okay. I'm going to try to get some of the lacquer thinner and pull some of this stuff out. And give it some definition, maybe put some back in. These teeth, I was just watching the Road War the other day, that the teeth on this guy reminds me of the, what's it doing? Okay, I'm not going to do that. It's doing that wackadoodle portrait landscape thing. Always learning something new. Never a dull moment when you're trying to move from. And although I don't know that Right. A busker is probably a noun. No, better yet, a pronoun. Busker slash something. Is it possible to not boomer something? Is it possible to Gen X something? Because I'm, technically speaking, Gen X. And I do feel though sometimes, when you're moving between one technology to the next, that you screw it up, or you can, whoever is watching who's good at something like this can tell that you're walking on uneven ground, and you get that feeling that you're boomer. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm too sensitive. It's not that. I think it's funny. The words that we come up with, some of the words that we come up with are absolutely stupid. And when I say we, I mean they, thems. I've got absolutely no room to move up my vocabulary for words like cis. Okay, so back on point. Is it possible to Gen X something? Because I think it's Gen X has, think about the technological borderlines that are being straddled by somebody who was born in the late 60s, early 70s, where you don't know what life was like without TV. But you saw, and I'll list them in order of appearance, technologies that, that showed up. Okay, so from your 3 channels, and then your public and your local, you learned what color TV was, and then you learned what a remote control was. A remote control that sounded like a mouse trap when you press the buttons, hence the name clicker. Rabbit ears probably came before all those. HBO, okay, HBO was a thing, but that didn't show up 24 hours for 24 hours until the 80s, and then before that, it showed up 24 hours only on the weekend. Then you were using a VCR if you were going to record something. And then, and if you had cable came before that. And you actually had the channel clicker that had, 12 to 16 buttons. And then the selector on the side so that you're going from 1 to 12, from 13 to 24, and from 25 to 36. And those were your channels. And before that, there was the Atari. No, Pong, then Atari, and then Intellivision. Not long after that, we had the Intellivision. Even before that, and I saw a copy of one of these things. Somebody actually found one and bought it sight unseen. I don't think it was ever tested. It's definitely going to be a nostalgia nerd, an Odyssey video game system. Yeah, and there was the Beta VHS battle, which, if my history is correct, the porn industry dictated which format was being used. Beta, clearly a better picture, smaller cassette, but for some reason, the porn industry decided what was going to be the mainstay. In fact, the first time I ever saw a movie on Beta, it was Creepshow at my buddy's house, one of my very favorites, and that was on Beta. Let's see. Beta format was better. It was a better picture. But what do we know? So, and then what? Let's see. Okay, so as far as computers went, in my school, Apple II, and then the Apple II Plus, and then the E. First computer I had in my home was an Apple IIc, but I do remember a kid down the block having a Commodore 64 that ran on cassette. So every once in a while, you remember those big databases that you'd see in shows like the big computer that they used in Wonder Woman, and you'd always see it in like a Scooby-Doo cartoon, these big reel-to-reel huge cabinets with the UNIVAC lights, that kind of stuff that the Wile E. Coyote would set up. Yeah, and I think with the first Mac was like thousands of dollars. I remember working with one of those in my graphic design class in high school. That would have been like 88. They finally got one. It wasn't even in color. Just use it to set type and set copy, and that was it. So, but my point is, okay, yeah. So you go from audio, if you're Gen X, you go from vinyl to 8-track to cassette to CDs to DVDs, of course, and then what are you doing? You're downloading your stuff after that in the 90s. Stealing. You're thieving. You're stealing when you should have been lying. Dude, I remember the in television, there was a piece of literature. I remember just seeing it. Oh, the Amiga. Absolutely. I remember the Amiga. Star Wars was your first beta movie. Yeah, and that would have been before George Lucas ruined it. I tried explaining this. Okay. Not to go off on a tangent, but here we go. This is less than 24 hours ago. I was having a conversation with one of the guys that I work with. And he said that while he does own all the movies, he still has yet to sit down. My hand to God. He has yet to sit down and watch Star Wars. Now, the other guy in the room, somebody that I actually, trade movies with, and we'll swap stuff back and forth. Have you ever seen? Yes, no, and then bring it in or whatever. But I actually heard, I can't believe it. Oh, nice people, of course, they're great. We're just, like, laughing at the whole thing. I couldn't believe it. The guy goes, and I quote, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I quote, "Which one was Han Solo?" ? He was the one that was with, Chewbacca, the big furry thing. You know what I mean? And now you're reduced to, describing the visuals. Like, yeah, he was in the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, the round one. But yeah, if you had Star Wars on beta, then you didn't have to see that stupid Jabba the Hutt insert that they put. Like, why do that? It's and the what was the other hot topic was the trying to make Han Solo a better character than he actually was, or a nicer person than he actually was, by doing that superhuman head jerk, so that we could see Guido shooting once. Is it Greedo or Guido? Because Guido sounds like something that you would say in the 70s and not have to worry about offending anybody, because you really didn't mean anything by it, But yeah, that whole thing. Yeah, right. No, but the Amiga computer, I remember. I used to play. My buddy had an Amiga, and he had this like naval flight simulator that was really cool. 3.5-inch floppy startup disk. By the way, asterisk, my computer at home was an Apple IIc. It used a 5.25-inch floppy, and I don't think they offered a color monitor at the time, so we had the green screen, which made any video game that had, I think we had something called Montezuma's Revenge, and one of the things about it was that you had these different keys, and it was all color coded, so you couldn't, you really couldn't play it unless you're like, oh, no, that's the wrong color, go back, get the other key, go through 3-4 rooms or whatever, and by the time you're done with that, you're like, you know what, screw this. I'm playing something else. Yeah, there are still people. I mean, that machine was so far ahead of its time, and it was a Commodore, right? It was a Commodore Amiga. Isn't there like a whole group of like, what do you call them? Just like super Amiga heads or something like that. That they love their Amigas. And that there's maybe some, like, I don't want to say open source, but you know what I mean by that. So I'm gonna have to get back and put that green back in. Oh, incidentally, in case you guys are wondering how I'm switching these out for the uninitiated, let's see if you can see this. There. This is a little teeny quick disconnect on the end of this, the male and the female part. Now, it used to be, I would have a hose attached to each one of my airbrushes, and I would just, take I had 6 of them. I used dedicated black, white, purple, yellow, warm, and cold. So I would have a brush that was all, orange, peach, red, and then green, blue, turquoise, that kind of thing. And when these things first came out, they were all like weak pieces of crap made out of brass. Like nobody had a metallurgy degree. Like, what's a soft metal that we can make everything out of? Which with the air hoses that I'm using right now, the braided air hoses. No, I don't have any holes in this one. Oh, I've got 2 of them, and it might just depend at what you're talking about, the kind of punishment that you have, that you put on them. Any quick disconnect eventually is going to wear out, but they used to wear out like almost immediately, and you'd be constantly, which is, I mean, it's bad for the life of the compressor if it's constantly kicking on. This one over here, I couldn't show you guys before, but I can now. This dirty ass, I'm going to swing you past the garbage. This, come on, don't do that. That's my silent compressor. I made that out of 2 old air conditioners and another air compressor that somebody was tossing away. I got rid of the motor and kept the tank. It's nice and silent. Silent-er. I mean, it just sounds like a refrigerator kicking on, or 2 of them kicking on at the same time. So, oh no, somebody came home. I think the dog did something wrong. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to go up and find out what just happened. I'm back. Just a sec. Dog got into the garbage. Dog got into the garbage. First time here. Very talented. Hey, what's up, Bella Maddie's mama? I hope I got that right. Yeah, thanks for coming. Right now we're dealing with the he who shall be unnamed four-legged creature. Probably an ill-advised emotional maneuver on my part. You know, you lose one dog and you miss the noise. Then the next dog that you get gives you all the noise and so much more. I'm just glad it was the kitchen garbage and not the bathroom garbage, which is a legendary screw up. He did that to me once already. Okay, so let's see. So I'm gonna just wash over the stuff that I did already. So the way the candy works is it is a translucent, well, transparent really, like a Jolly Rancher or candy, and you can see how everything's kind of getting darker. It's making everything that I painted already darker, as well as the highlights that I just put down. So this back and forth, I can really brighten up my highlights a little bit more, and just make them a little tighter with the lacquer thinner. And so, yes, in case you're wondering, this process that you're seeing happened over this whole surface, okay, and the tank, and the front fender. There is a video showcasing everything that happened to this particular set of tins, which also includes taking the old paint off. These tins were not brought to me naked. They had somebody else's work on them. So it was stripping them, repainting them, and then doing the artwork. Which is, it's a lot of work, but that's why I have somebody else do that stuff now. And it's not even really like a desire thing. It's jobs that are this big don't really come along very often. Smaller pinstripe jobs, which are easy to crank out, fine. But a lot of times it's paint repair. And there's no real creative, there's no creative meat, to really sink your teeth into. So we'll get these teeth highlighted. That's basically one face. Yeah, there's really nothing I can do about the glare on the fender, I'm afraid. Yeah. I can't. I tried it once, submitting something to a dogshaming.com, and I think one of the reasons they did not accept it was because it had to do with killing rodents and laying them at the feet of my daughter, who then tried to play with it. And probably not wholesome enough for that site. Yeah, man, freelance is weird. It's Oh, are you saying that the maybe the way that the light is actually showing maybe in a rainbow effect or something, showing the paint coming out of the gun? That'd be cool if that's the case, but. Yeah, 'cause normally, I always say that's the when you see the paint coming out, that's rare. Oh yeah, that's another habit. um, the thing that makes it a magic show is that you can separate the tool from what's happening on the shirt, and when you're in front of a crowd. And that's basically just what the mind does, and you're like, oh, it's like the color appears. And something like this, where I'm working with weaker tones or a different kind of paint, when you're working on T-shirts and stuff, and you see, a name in black script just appear, it's a really neat effect. The magic show. I remember when I was a kid at the Erie County Fair up in Erie County, New York, which is where Buffalo is. And yeah, and there was one lady. There's a thing that amazes me about it when I think about it. When I think about it now, is she had one airbrush, and she was constantly switching jars off the bottom of it. It was, a siphon-fed Pache, big as a horse's leg. These things, and just moving at a lightning speed. Working on designs. Like basically, I always call it just fast food art, because you're turning these things around the way that you would flip burgers on a grill. There's one person there that's taking orders, and as I was this little kid, and then when I ended up doing T-shirts and stuff, I had like 6 guns. The way that I described before: warm colors, cool colors, black, white, purple, and yellow. And I would think about it, then versus now, and be like, how in the hell did she do that without pulling her hair out? Because you got to at least rinse the gun with you had a bottle of water, maybe a little bit of window cleaner in it, diluted alcohol or something like that, so that you could clean the old color out. Otherwise you'd be painting with mud the entire time. And this chick was just moving at a clip. And it did. It looked like a magic show. Oops. I thought this tripod would be in my way, but it's actually not terrible. Funny you should say that, Bella Maddie's mama. That's exactly where I learned. And that was in 92. In fact, the reason I got the job was that the two people that they had hired from the season before got in trouble at the park, and they called me and my friend in. I had interviewed. It was kind of like a courtesy that they were doing for us. One of my friends at the Art Institute had worked there the season before, and he was coming back. And it was really just through sheer force of will, I think, that me and another friend got an interview up there because we were just really hungry to learn, the right way to do it. It was like a boot camp. You're there for like 8 hours a day just using the airbrush to scribble, to learn how to write. But we were 2 weeks into the season starting, and they were like 2 artists down, so they ended up calling us back. And man, I remember that being like just one of the happiest days of my life, because I was like pretty miserable, like working at a freaking grocery store deli, and for a long time being able to do that with an airbrush, it wasn't even really like a job. Honestly, it had to do more with like a personal identity. What do? You're a lawyer or you're a doctor, whatever, and that was the thing that made me feel special. And then I fucked up, and then I got fired. But felt bad about that, and I was bitter for a while, but I'm over it now. But the stuff that I learned there, I was doing that for years, and then somebody walked in with a motorcycle tank, and if I had the wherewithal to think at that moment that the reason somebody was walking into a freaking mall with a motorcycle tank is that nobody else was doing it. Oh. So if maybe Bella Maddie's mama is around Sandusky. We were coming in from Western Pennsylvania in my buddy's Buick that we did not realize had no radiator fluid in it. Why is it overheating? Didn't know much about cars back then. So you start doing custom paint work, you find yourself in a lot of garages learning a lot of shit about a lot of cars. Yeah, it was baptism by fire for sure. The fact, the first thing I did when I got there, show up for work for like the first day, they say like, you shouldn't touch things that don't belong to you, but I couldn't help it. It was like, the first time you see a sword or an axe or, whatever the thing is that you've been trying to, learn how to use. And I picked up this airbrush that had a bottle of black attached to it. And I picked it up the wrong way. The bottle fell off and shattered on the floor and right on my boss's feet. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not too far. Just give me a couple minutes. I'm going to be right back. I got to supply somebody with party money. Sorry about that. Apparently, this is a cash bar wherever she's going, and I had to pop open the firebox. Okay, people are talking. What? Okay. Who left it like this? I'm not sure what that means, but anyways, yeah. So feed the dog and get some money to ye old lady for. She really deserves it today. I think I screwed her a little bit starting this stream up. She's in a hurry, so. So I got the dog down here with me. I don't think he needs any camera time. Oh, I don't know if I needed to do that. Let's see. Let's get some basic blacks and whites in here, darks and lights rather, greens and Cuda greens. Man, if I was really smart, I would have started the stream right now. All I had to do was think for a second about what everybody's day was doing. cheek, at least the edge of the cheek. Bottom squinted eyelid, top squinted eyelid, crow's feet. I'm thinking maybe, and let's not go crazy with super accurate proportions. After all, these are cartoon characters, but I'm thinking maybe this nose is a little small. Technically, I could get some lacquer thinner on the end of a paper towel and wipe a lot of this. What fun would that be? Yeah. All right, well, I'll see you guys when you make it back. Still have 4 watching. I just don't know who they are. Susie, Belly Dada's mama, or Belly Dada's mama, Bella Maddie's mama, and Germs. So at least their computers are running the feed. I don't know who that other one is. Could be the owner. You never know. I need to watch my P's and my Q's. Let's see. Hat. Maybe I can put a bell right there. A little bit more into the foreground. Get the green. This dog seriously doesn't know what to do with himself, and I know he doesn't need to go outside because he was just outside. Literally, I mean, it's the single. Did I swear? Oh no, I meant I have this what do you call it? Hyper aware that all of the stuff that I could say at some point, it's like a paranoid fantasy. Oh, okay, let's see. This guy on this stream, he worked at Cedar Point from '92. Grew up in Western New York and whatever, and you'd like be able to glean like who I am and where I live now and all that stuff, and do a like I said, paranoid fantasy about ne'er-do-wells wanting to come and visit you at your castle. I was really just basically talking about like I sent this link out to my customer, and I don't want to get too like the feelings that you have while you're working on a job, kind of like like you love your kids, but every once in a while they can just do something to you that really pisses you off, or you're tired of it. And I don't want to sound like an asshole because this is honestly one of the better projects that I've ever worked on because of the like I was saying before, there's a lot of trust. The guys trusting me with this. He basically give me the concept and let me go and not try to hold a remote control. You know what I mean? There's things that he definitely wants, things that he definitely doesn't want, but beyond that, has left a lot of this up to my judgment, and that doesn't happen a lot. But like I was saying before, very very patient, which also doesn't happen a lot, especially like right now. Is the thing that I kind of feel bad about is, and I would say that in the springtime is when you're very busy because all of the money holidays are over with. Right, exactly, Susie. All the money holidays are over with. People know how they stand financially. If they're not getting a refund or they just pay their taxes or whatever, that's done. And the weather's turning nice, so it becomes a perfect storm of that people pull their bikes out and they're like, it's springtime. I want to get some custom painted. For the people who've never dealt with it before. Not this guy, but there's always your newer customers. They don't know how long something like that takes. If you've got anything in front that you're working on, or even like what your personal situation is. For instance, I work a full-time job. I do this on the side, and all those factors come into play. But it is springtime is madness, and I mean this is riding season right now, and it's taken a while to get this into my hands, just because it's there's so many other things that are scheduled on everybody's plate. But I am in earnest trying to get this out of here before we end up going on vacation. I don't want it to sit here for a week doing nothing. So the sooner that happens, the happier everybody will be. I'll actually be able to enjoy myself because I'll have that sigh of relief that there's nothing big waiting for me, and it's just you know what I mean. Like it's not in the back of my head that this poor dude's just waiting to get his ride back. So that's why when I found out today that I wasn't going to be working on that one, diesel rig, I'm like, great, I can take at least a nice chunk out of this thing today, and then tomorrow. And I don't know that I'm going to be streaming about it, while I work. Each time I sit down on it, because I sit down to work on it, because it's just another thing that you have to keep in mind. Yes, you're working on this thing, and you do want to be able to explain what's going on to the people that are interested, but at the same time, you need to be able to allow for things like the dog got into the garbage, or whatever. And so I don't want to have to get up and leave. It's not a very good host. It's just a little real life in there. All right. Let's see. This up here like this. And this dog, he keeps going. He can't get out of the basement because I have the door shut. And I mean shut in such a way that he can't get it back open again because he is good at that. Those boxers, man, they use their paws. This dude could probably pick a lock if he tried hard enough. He literally was able to let himself back inside the house last night from the patio door, which swings outward. Got his paw on the handle, pushed it down, pulled it open, you know. And we didn't even have time to sit there and fight with each other about whose turn it is to get up and let him inside. He just did it himself. So yeah, the garbage is no problem for him. Okay, cheeks, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Get the side of the face here. Oh yeah, in Alberta, geez. I would see. I lived in Buffalo when I was a kid, and you know, everybody's got its. Every town that gets any kind of winter always has sort of like this unspoken competition who has the worst winters. I mean, Buffalo's pretty bad just because of where it is in comparison to the lake. In Canada, it's just always that. You know, it's just cold no matter what. You know, Canada, Russia, same thing. As far as weather goes, well, whatever. I'm not going to get into the politics, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and there is a riding season. You know, it's not like being in Florida where you can go all year, especially if you're one of those hardcore guys that'll, you know, take on a tornado. I wonder if I can actually get 2 of these faces done. And I might call it after that, but if I can get 2 of these things done inside of the time it takes to do this stream, I'll be pretty happy. Yeah, I've talked to people before about, you know, like what they want to get done on their bike, and one of the things that I've learned to ask it whenever it comes to, you know, how long is it going to take? I ask how many bikes do you have, because you might, you know, sometimes the scope of the project is, you know, pretty big. You know, all the other factors I was talking about before, you know, not just how big it is, but how long it's going to take for me to do it / and get to it, because there's other people in line. You know, do you have another bike? Good, because you might be riding that one this season. You know, or you get the people that, and this happens almost all the time. Sounds like a winter project, yes, and then winter comes and goes, and guess who hasn't gotten a hold of you until spring? The guy who agreed with you that it is a winter project. What are you going to do? People get stacked up. Anyways, this is the first season that I have not Like I have a couple of those, pull up banner things and some tents. I've never gone and done huge shows. I've never gone and done, Sturgis. I did something in Erie once, and I did in Johnstown. I did Thunder in the Valley. I did a Thunder in the Mountain, although that was a little bit more of that was a different thing. I mean, it was a bike rally, but what I was doing there was a little bit different. I was with a partnership at the time. But this is the first year that I've ever not gone to my local dealership and set up a tent. They would always have me there, for free, because it's part of it is it attracts people to the venue. When the more people that you have there, not just like because I'm a pinstriper, but like there'd be a cigar guy there, there'd be somebody cooking ribs. They would have a rib fest. In fact, I think their rib fest is on the 27th. But this is the first time I have ever decided to just stay home for the summer, because I'm trying to make the transition away from this and into something that I can do at home that doesn't necessarily smell. I'm trying to get into this comic book thing because I've always wanted to do it, and the overhead is low. And it's flat. And this dog better not be thinking about taking a shit in the garage. Except during Chinooks. That's a show. Calgary Chinooks. Oh, that must be some kind of a terrible cold winter or something like that, is what if that's what you're talking about. Susie, the reason. Is that a weather phenomenon, Chinooks? Okay, yeah. Like the preceding westerlies. Although the same, I noticed this when I was growing up. We've had our hot days and our hot muggy days in Buffalo when I was a kid, but one of the things that I remember is that, and this is suburbia. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like a nice warm, like a zephyr. The same weather patterns that bring blizzards and bad winters and stuff like that are also the same weather patterns that, if your house is set up the right way, in other words, you have your windows facing west and east, that you don't really need air conditioning. It's the same. It's the same wind coming off the lake, coming across, going in one side of the house and coming out the other side of the house. Oh, the winds that melt glaciers. So, in other words, a natural occurring thing, what with the glaciers, not man-made global. Climate change. Get more green on there. More darker. I think the only hot air that really melts anything on the planet is the hot air coming out of a politician's mouth. Coming up with problems that aren't really problems so that they can tax us for something that they're never going to solve and had no intention of solving because it's not really a problem. That's just, my opinion. Yeah, you never climb on glaciers during the springtime. I take the an even easier route. I don't climb on glaciers. God, I wonder who was the first person who had to figure that out, that you don't climb on glaciers in the springtime. You know, like that first person who figured out that fire was hot. The very first winners of the Darwin Awards. You know, that sand is not food guy. Oh yeah, totally. That's one of many tax grabs, like the war on poverty. Seriously, if you had a problem that you could fleece an entire population for, you know, one big lie, you know, when would you fess up? Now, who knows if something like this is even viable? And I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of it, but wouldn't it be wonderful if, when it came time to, you know, like if you had to like pay your taxes, for those people who are actually paying taxes, and something tells me that there would be nobody would ever let the American people have this kind of power. But let's say you are one of those people who actually has to pay taxes, whether it's $5, you know, and you just, that's your first year of ever paying taxes, or $5 million. And but that you actually get to, by way of, you know, maybe a multiple choice or something like that, indicate the percentage of your taxes that are going to pay for whatever, fill in the blank. Really, a bunch of climbers lost their lives because of the Chinooks. Huh. So they didn't get the memo. That sounds heartless. Bear, where did you go? Bear. In the darkest, most dangerous part of the basement. Oh, it was in Europe. Okay. Well, yeah. Europe. The Europeans, you know, were they climbing up the Alps? And isn't El Capitan one of those? I still run that operating system on my old Mac. Oh, I'm going to have to upgrade my linktree. I tried, because I set this up from the phone. Apparently, that YouTube, the section on of setting this thing up in StreamYards, YouTube wouldn't let me put in all my links. It's something I've been more active in as of late. Is where's my mask at? Is Discord, and I cannot remember if I have a Discord link in that link tree. So I'm gonna have to fix that whenever I'm done here. Which I have to say is, for as riveting as this is, I might be off of here in a couple of minutes. How long have we been doing here? About an hour and a half, almost exactly. That's not bad for an hour and a half. I'll tell you what, it's really handy having the timer on there because, you know, a lot of times, you know, somebody will ask you, how long did you spend painting that? And I'm like a Rain Man when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I don't know. It could have been 15 minutes, could have been 50 minutes. You know, and then what happened in between? Like, how many times did you have to take a break to, you know, answer an email, go to the bathroom, etc., etc. I just have to make sure I keep an eye on the clock because the kid that went to work earlier, apparently, they tell me I'm going to have to pick her up and bring her back here. They're not just going to keep her. So apparently my responsibilities to the children that I've sired are not over just because she found a job. Go figure. What pattern am I supposed to put on this hat? I already got stripes and checkers and polka dots on this one. I gotta maybe, I don't know. This one's gonna go over this way. Down here to this bell. When you have this many faces on something, it does get a little bit, you know, challenging when it comes time to, you know, like try to randomize the stuff. That might be next time I hook up this camera and try to do one of these things. That will probably be done already. Because I am going to want to go to town on this without any worrying about who's watching or reading anything. It'll be like that thing in any cooking show where there's already one in the oven. This is what it's supposed to look like if you don't screw it up. You know, all of a sudden it's Christmas time. And plus, I mean, it's not like I don't enjoy you guys' company because I do. I like having people to talk to, and I feel like I'm, you know, doing my job as a halfway decent YouTuber. But I can't play anything in the background like music or anything. If, you know, people go to watch this video in the past and, you know, maybe in the future watch this, what will be by then a past video, and there's music playing in the background, I can't get the 5 cents that I had planned on getting off of this video because someday I might be monetized. Oh, tell your friends and family, like and subscribe, and all that wonderful stuff. Whether I got green here, I got the green. So I'm just going to put some shading in here so I can figure out which one of these is I don't even know what you call them. These the arms of the Jester hat, which one goes where, and throw in some highlights on this face, and hit stop and let this dog back out of the house because, yes, I'm blaming everything on the dog. It's one of the reasons why I got the dog. And hell, it's one of the reasons why I had kids. I need somebody to blame something on. makes it easier to cancel things when you can like say one of your kids is sick. I don't actually do that. I don't really cancel anything. I'm too jazzed up about getting out of the house. I know what some of you guys are saying. Like, what if your kids are watching? Well, honestly, I hadn't thought of that. I hope I don't give any of them a complex. Oh, saliva. We got to do some saliva. It's one of my favorite things. If you've ever seen like old Bernie Wrightson books, whenever and a lot of older, not older, but just comic book artists, there's an open mouth, the screaming open mouth. It always adds a little bit extra when you've got nice, come on, string of saliva. Can you guys see that? Yeah, something like that's cool. Dig it. Almost there. Once I walk away and come back, I'll probably see other areas that I want to push in the background or pull up with, candy and then this erasure method. But I'm never going to be able to freshen those eyes up unless I actually walk away from the damn thing. So for right now, that's what I'm going to do. I'm very grateful for you guys showing up and talking. Thanks, Susie. Thank you, Bella Maddie's mama and Germs. And who else was in there? Is there somebody else? No, you guys are my besties. I'm going to put that link in my link tree if you want to find me on Discord and all those other places. So again, thank you very much for showing up. I'm gonna shut this out, or shut this off, and let the dog out. And hour 40, not bad. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks again.
I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again. I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.
Listen. I loved it. It was much better than Cats. I'm going to see it again and again.